Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Who Was Hiram Abif? By Howard Koop, 32nd degree, KCCH, and comes from the July-August 2014 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. Hiram Abif, one of the three legendary Masonic Grand Masters at the building of King Solomon's Temple, is based on a biblical character. Every Mason in his Masonic journey was introduced to a character known as Hiram Abif. But apart from Masonic tradition, who was this man and what is known about him? There are two major sources of information about Hiram and the work he did for King Solomon. 1 Kings and 2 Chronicles, both books of history in the Old Testament, give detailed information about the building of King Solomon's Temple on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem. From Masonic tradition, it is known that Hiram Abif had a prominent role in that event. Following the death of King David, Solomon, David's son by Bathsheba, 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 11, established himself in his kingdom. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 1. Most historians accept 962 BC as the date of that event. During his reign, Israel was so prosperous that Solomon made silver and gold as common in Jerusalem as stone, and he made cedar as plentiful as the sycamore of the Shephelah. 2 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 15. Then he purposed to build a temple for the name of the Lord. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 1. In Jerusalem at the place that David had appointed, on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. 2 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 1b. Although prosperity abounded in his kingdom, Solomon lacked the necessary human resources to accomplish his grand scheme. So, Solomon sent a letter to the king of Tyre, a neighbor to the north, in which he asked for assistance to accomplish his plans. In 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 1, the king of Tyre is called Hiram, and in 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 3, he is called Huram. Both names mean brother of the Exalted One, and they are variant spellings of the same name. In Solomon's letter, he requested Hiram, or Huram, to send me a man skilled to work in gold, silver, bronze, and iron, and in purple, crimson, and blue fabrics, trained also in engraving. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 7. He needed a person with such expertise because, he assured Huram, the house I am to build will be great and wonderful. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 9b. In response to Solomon's letter, the king of Tyre wrote, Now I have sent a skilled man, Hiram Abif. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 13. In 1 Kings, the man sent in response to Solomon's request is Hiram. Abif, a word which means my father, was an honorary title that was bestowed upon Huram, and it may imply the father of all craftsmen, which would signify his superiority as a craftsman. In Masonic tradition, Abif has become Abif. For the portion of that letter preserved in 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verses 13 through 16, we know that the mother of Hiram Abif was a member of the tribe of Dan. However, in 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 14, she is said to be a widow of the tribe of Naphtali. In both passages, his father was a man of Tyre. The man sent to Israel in response to Solomon's request was a skilled man, endued with understanding. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 13. He was, therefore, a multi-talented individual trained to work in gold, silver, bronze, iron, stone, and wood. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 14a. Furthermore, he was able to work in purple, blue, and crimson fabrics and fine linen. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 14b. And he was trained to do all sorts of engraving and execute any design that may be assigned to him. 2 Chronicles chapter 2, verse 14c. This master craftsman from Tyre became the architect for Solomon's temple and did all of Solomon's work. 1 Kings chapter 7, verse 14, which included making the pots, the shovels, and the basins. 2 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 11, along with the forks and all the equipment. 2 Chronicles chapter 4, verse 16, that the temple required. These were made by Hiram Abif of burnished bronze, and they were cast in the plain of Jordan, in the clay ground between Zuccoth and Zeradah. 2 Chronicles chapter 4, verses 16 through 17. Work began in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziv, which is the 2nd month. 2 Chronicles chapter 3, verse 2. That is to say, work got underway about the beginning of May in the year 962 BC. 7 years later, in the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, that is to say, about the beginning of November in 955 BC. The house was finished in all its parts and according to all its specifications. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 38. When finished, the temple built by Hiram Abif for King Solomon was, after the pyramids of Egypt, the most significant building of that era. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 32nd degree, KCCH, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.